Om. 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Akhandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Ajnana Chitimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we will begin with verse number 4.
Yep.
Brahmadisthan sthavaranteshu vairagyam vishayanvano yathaiva kakavishthayam vairagyam tadhi nirmalam. Brahmadi, Brahma, Adi. So as from Brahma, starting from Brahma, Avarant means that which is immobile. Avaranteshu, up to that which is immobile. तो जो हिलता नहीं है. तो ब्रह्मा से शुरू करके एकदम लास्ट ऑफ द स्टोन्स तक, पत्थर तक, इनके प्रति, ये विषयों के प्रति, टुवर्ड्स दीज विषय सब. सी what is interesting is विषय, when we say विषय means that there has to be a विषयी. ब्रह्म सूत्र में हम लोगों ने देखा है विषय होता है और विषयी होता है. तो हम लोग विषय और विषयी के बीच में जो भेद है, that difference between विषय and subject and object, that is what we do not understand. So when we look at something and we understand it as an object, then by definition there has to be a subject. ये बिना subject का कोई object हो नहीं सकता. So therefore when there is an object, see in English ना, English sentence में या कोई भी हम लोग हिंदी grammar में कोई sentence भी, take a sentence, so we need a subject and an object. The object can only exist if there is a subject. So when I say that I see a tree, there has to be a subject which is doing the act of seeing the tree. So tree है, मैं हूँ, and the act of seeing the tree. तीन चीज हो रही, right? So विषय, वैराग्यम, dispassion. यहाँ एक लिटरल मीनिंग होता है घृणा. वैराग्य का एक मीनिंग होता है घृणा या एवर्शन नहीं, हम लोग यहाँ डिस्पैशन यूज करेंगे. सो इफ वी लुक एट डिस्पैशन, देन ब्रह्मादि स्थावरांतेषु वैराग्यम विषयन्वनु यथैव काकविष्ठायाम. दिस इज सो इंटरेस्टिंग. आचार्य का keen observation of this entire universe. The physical universe is the degree at which he can observe is so unbelievable. See, the crow will eat the shit of a pig. The pig will eat the shit of a human being. Nobody will eat the shit of a crow. काकविष्टायाम, जिसके प्रति हमारी नॉर्मल ही एक ऑटोमेटिक एवर्शन है. देयर इज एन ऑटोमेटिक एवर्शन टुवर्ड्स काकविष्टा. सो यथैव काकविष्टायाम वैराग्यम तद्धि निर्मलम. इस ऐसा जो वैराग्य है, इफ आई कैन हैव दिस वैराग्य टुवर्ड्स दिस एंटायर सब्जेक्ट दैट आई एम सीइंग. Now, vairagya by meaning is detachment. It means dispassion. What is passion? Passion, another word for passion, we have seen in Bhagavad Gita, raga. The moment you say raga, then there is another opposite of raga that will also come. Dvesha. Right? And Gurudev used to say that you spend your life doing only two things: running towards that which you like and running away from that which you don't like. The moment we stop that, you come into vairagya, right? Viraga, having removed all the raga. Having removed all the raga, and that state in which I have removed all the raga is called vairagya. Now, how can I, let us take in my day-to-day living. In my day-to-day living, I have to do something for my earning. So I have to go to a client's office, I have to do something, I have to make a presentation, and so on and so forth. If I am doing that, so welcome back, Raghuji. Are you back welcome back to the eastern side of the world or the western side?
No, I'm still in Chicago. I travel back tonight.
Okay. So,
Hari Om, sir.
So when we are looking that, when we are working in that day-to-day world, if I'm working with attachment towards what? Always towards the result. Then what happens? I forget the process. For example, I get into the football field. I have to play football. Now, what do I watch? Do I watch the ball or do I watch the goalpost? I watch the ball. I don't watch the goalpost. But if I keep watching the goalpost, I know I will lose the game, right? What are you in the natural thing? It's so natural. Karmanyavadikaraste mafaleshu kadachana. People don't understand this, so it's so easy. It is my expectation to have a nice family. Can I declare with a right? I must have a child. I must have a son, or I must have a daughter, or even better, I must have twins. Can I declare that as a right? Raghuji applied to go to the US. He has an existing visa. At the immigration, can he declare with right? No, you have to allow me to enter. All of this, see, we are living in a world where these rights are not ours, but we think they are ours. That is called raga. So when we move from there to vairagya, it has not only to be temporary, markata vairagya, but complete constant vairagya. Now, how to achieve that, he will tell us. That the Acharya batayenge humko. So first, as usual, he has given us the goal. Complete vairagya, constant vairagya. And he explains that by saying, if you can look at the world as if it is kakavishta, as if it is kakavishta. I've shared this example earlier of Sri Thakur, who, when prostitutes came to him to test him, he went into samadhi. And when he was asked as to why you did not feel attracted, he said, I saw a bag full of shit, mucus, sputum, urine, undigested food. That is what I saw. I saw a bag which is floating around with all this. How can I get attracted to that? So this is kakavishta. Constant and continuous detachment. Now this constant and continuous detachment, it is towards both, towards that which is good, that which is bad. One of the exercises that used to be prescribed to us, and this is something that I always say that we should all practice, is stop using judgmental words, which means you do not ever say this is good or this is bad. At least dilute that by saying, I don't like it. Even that makes it a little bit more, it is still judgmental, but it is a little better than in your day-to-day living. So if I'm eating something and I'm reminded of my mother's sister, so she would make some sabji, hum log khane baithe honge, she will come and she will keep offering that sabji. Now I say, no, I don't want it. She will tell me, I like it very much, eat. She used to use these exact words, I like it very much, eat. अरे तुमको पसंद है, मुझे नहीं पसंद है. तुम्हारा पेट भर गया है, मेरा पेट भर गया है, तुम्हारा पेट नहीं भरा है. So there are people who like Karela, there are people who don't like Karela. You cannot say Karela is bad, right? So the moment you change those words, as a constant practice. There is no good, there is no bad. You may like it or you may not like it. You know what will happen? Two things. Later on, do manan and say, why do I not like it? What is it that is causing me to say I don't like it? Is it the tongue or is it the the observer? Minaji, you know the story. Why don't you tell us that story? One hungry man was walking. आपको पता है, याद है ऐसी स्टोरी है? एक भूखा आदमी चल के जा रहा था. Minaji is silent. So, okay, I'll tell the story. So, hungry man was walking and he saw in the field, he saw a tree. The tree was laden with ripe golden mangoes, all easily reachable. So he went there. He plucked the mangoes and he peeled the mangoes. He bit into the mangoes, the juicy mangoes that came out full of beautiful juice. He swallowed it. It went into his stomach. He felt satisfied. And somebody came from the back and took a stick and gave him one on the back. And he started crying. देखा किसने? आंखों ने देखा. आम लिया किसने? हाथों ने लिया. काटा किसने? दांतों ने काटा. चखा किसने? जीभ ने चखा. हजम किया किसने? पेट ने. मार कौन खाई? पीठ ने. रोया कौन? आंख. आंख नहीं देखा था ना, तो दोस्तों आंख ही का है ना, उसी को रोना है. इस पूरे ऑब्जर्वेशन के अंदर में ये सब कौन भुगत रहा है? He who has identified with the body is suffering. If you have not identified with the body, you are enjoying. अरे ये कितना बच्चा खेला है. हाथ ने आंख ने देखा, मुंह ने खाया, पेट ने हजम किया, पीठ ने मार खाया, आंख रोई. Can I look at the world this way? I can do that if I can do manan on my own statement. I don't like this. I don't like that. I like this. I love that. The moment you start shifting it from this is good and that is bad. So you find these nutritionists will come and tell you pizza is bad. Pizza may be bad, may not be bad. It's not good for you. That is a better answer, isn't it? Simple things to change our day-to-day life. This mental attitude towards this dispassion, developing this dispassion, this continuous extreme attachment that we have with what is going on around us, that is raga. When we move away from it, it is viraga. The state of being in that is called vairagya. Now, why is he talking about vairagya? Because he has started explaining from verse 3 that there are 4 things that are required, right? The 4 things that are required in verse 3, he has said, Vairagyadi chatushtayam, right? What are the 4? Vairagya, Viveka, Shat Sampatti, Mumukshatvam. So now, over this, बीना जी आपका सवाल जो था कि एक उन्होंने स्टेटमेंट किया कि वैराग्य आदि चतुष्टयम, तो ये वैराग्य आदि चतुष्टयम क्या है? वैराग्य को एक्सप्लेन किया. काकविष्ठ की जैसे यदि हम सब कुछ को देख सकते हैं, if we can look at काकविष्ठ, something that nothing in this world wants to eat, that is what is called vairagya. Then he goes on in verse number 5. Nityam atmaswarupam hi drishyam tad viparigatam. Drishyam tad viparigatam evam yo nishchaya samyak viveko vastuna savai. Nityam, permanent. Nitya, anitya, viveka. This is one of the things that we talk about. Viveka, by definition, is that which we understand what is real and what is unreal. Now, when we say unreal, is this Zoom meeting unreal? Is if I shave myself and I get a cut, is that cut unreal? इसके ऊपर में वो कट गया है, तो उसके ऊपर में if I apply some Dettol or something, that will burn. Is that burning unreal? What is unreal? What is the meaning of the word unreal? We have to examine that. Atma Swarupam, the self in itself, the self, Atma Swarupam, he alone, Drishyam, seen, Viparigatam, Viparita means opposing, Viparigatam opposed, Evam, such, Yaha, that, Nishchayaha, with conviction, with the firm belief, Samyak, settled, definitive, Viveka, discrimination, Vastunaha, of objects, Saha, that, why. So, Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya, right? Look at the choice of the words of Acharya. He could have said Brahma Satya Jagan Asatya. He didn't say Asatya. He said Mithya. Different meaning or entirely. Mithya means false, but not non-existent. Sat. What does the word Sat mean? Sat means that which exists. Asato ma sadgamaya. Right? Take me from that which is unreal, that which does not exist, to that which exists. Asato ma sadgamaya. Not take me from falsehood to truth. Some translations they have put. That is not the translation. Because it exists, it is true. Satya word comes from there. Because it exists. But what is the meaning of the word mithya? It means that which appears to be real. That which to me appears to be real. For me, at this present point, it is real. In the next moment, it will change. In the next moment, there will be something different. Immediately after this Zoom call is over, I have another call. I'm still on Zoom. Zoom is permanent. Zoom is Sat. All the meetings happening on it are the Asat or the Mithyas that are happening. That understanding that this is a continuously changing projection, it is very easy for us. When you stand in front of the mirror and you say, where am I? You can very easily point out. What are you pointing out to? You are pointing out to the body. You are pointing out to the body. You go to a friend's house. You had gone on a trip. He comes and shows you some photographs. Or he has posted the photographs on the WhatsApp group. Immediately, what do you look for? Main kahan hu? And you are able to identify yourself. What are you identifying? Are you identifying the body or are you identifying something beyond? Swami Kriyananda, have you heard of him? Swami Kriyananda? He was
Yogananda's
disciple. His original name was J. Donald Walters. At the age of 21 or 22, he walked into one public meeting that was being held by Yogananda ji, and he was floored, and he decided to become his disciple. Swami Kriyananda, I have had a wonderful experience with him personally. I will talk about that some other point of time. But Swami Kriyananda, in one of the biographies of Swami Kriyananda by one of his disciples, they were sitting and for dinner somewhere in Italy, and one girl, she came in a little late, and she came in from the back, and Swami Kriyananda immediately, without even turning his head, he said, "You need to come and sit to my left." So people were surprised as to how he came to know that she had come into the room. and she sat down. Then she had a big patch on her eye. She had injured her eye, so she had a patch on her eye, and some treatment was going on. And somebody mentioned to Swami Kriyananda that, look, her beautiful blue eyes, one of them has got covered with a big patch. That's when he turned at her and he looked very carefully and he said, yes, you really have blue eyes. And this person had been with this Swamiji for the last 15 years. He had never noticed the fact that she has blue eyes, but he could notice the fact that she came into the room. And when he was asked, how did you, I mean, she's been with you for 15 years, you've never noticed her beautiful blue eyes. I mean, she has most startling blue eyes. He said, no, but I never look at the body. He actually said this. I never look at the body. Now you have people who have actually in our living times have shown us this experience is possible. So where we are, what are we doing? We are continuously identifying only with the body. At least if we can dissociate ourselves for a few minutes away from this body. So one of the reasons as to why you cannot do meditation while you are running. Oh, people are telling me, while I'm meditating, my mind is blank. Yes, your mind is blank. Your mind has become blank because of the physical action that you are doing, but that is not meditation. For meditation, you need to consciously be able to still your mind. The sportsman whose mind becomes blank is not becoming blank because he consciously puts it off. Raman Maharshi used to ask, if you have controlled your mind, put it off. Let me show me and put it off. How do you put off your mind? Almost an impossibility. See, it's so easy. Our mind is so easy. See, one thing I will want you not to do is to think of a black cat. What happened? One fraction of a second, all of you saw a black cat. Immediately. Right? That is the fickleness of our mind. One word from somebody and our mind has changed. That, to get that into samyak viveka, deep conviction that Atman alone is real, everything else is continuously changing, is a definition of viveka. That is the definition of viveka. How we will get there, how to get into this viveka one by one, we will see. So then, yes, please.
I have to, in my book, it is Drashyam Tadviparitagam.
It's Viparigatam.
Viparitagam.
Viparitagam.
Opposed.
That is how it is in my book, and I think at Vishwanathan ji also.
Yeah, that means it is opposed. What he's saying is the same. See, he's saying
that is what I'm saying. Viparitagam.
As opposed to what is other things, which is impermanent. All other things are impermanent. Atman alone is permanent. That's what is the sum and substance of this entire.
Tat, the word is Tat Viparitagam.
Yeah. Okay.
That means other than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next word. Now he starts with the Shat Sampatti. So in the Shat Sampatti, we have seen Shama, Dama, etc., right? So he talks about Shama and Dama in this particular verse. Sadaiva Vasana Tyagaha Shamo Yamiti Shabditaha. Sadaiva Vasana Tyagaha Shamo Ayam Iti Shabditaha Nigraho Bahyavrittinam Dama Ityabhidhiyate. So Shama and Dama he explains. Sadaiva Vasana Tyaga. This constant Rasgulla, different types of Rasgulla. This constant running after, Shabditaha means called, it declared. So the constant running after. see, if you look at Gurudev's the BMI chart, he puts an Om in the top. Under the Om, he has a big V which says Vasanas, which divert into the body, mind, intellect, and the body becomes the perceiver, the mind becomes the feeler, and the intellect becomes the thinker. This construct of how the mind works, how the entire thing works, the vasana filter is what creates the separation and therefore creates the individual ego. So this running after the control or the giving up, right? Tyagaha, vasana tyagaha is called shama. The control of the external organs when they are coming in to be prompting us to do certain things, that is called dhamma. Nigraho. Nigraho means to restrain, to control. That is why you have Navagraha. The grahas, they are the people who are controlling. It's a very interesting Dushyant Sridhar. I don't know if you have heard of him. A very versatile and very erudite speaker. Obviously, he comes from the Vishishtadvaita school, so his viewpoints are slightly different. But he has a very engaging way of talking. And one of the talks I really love is people do Navagraha Puja. So, mera Shani ka dosh hai, Shani ka puja karo. Right? Guru ka puja karo. Right? I need wealth. Let me worship Shankaracharya. So he says, see, if a thief comes into your house, who do you call out to? किसको बुलाएंगे? चोर घर पे आएगा तो पुलिस को बुलाएंगे ना. आप चोर को चिल्ला चिल्ला के बोलेंगे चोर 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 चोर, तो क्या करेगा वो चोर? बोलेगा हाँ रे बाबा मैं चोर हूं, चुपचाप बैठो. राइट? सो यदि आपके पास ग्रह की असुविधा है तो ग्रह का बॉस जो है उसके पास जाइए. Go to he who controls the grahas. Go to Mahavishnu, according to him, go to Mahavishnu and tell him all the grahas are acting against me, please go and control them. If you look at the Vishnu Sahasranama, you know that he is the controller of all the grahas, right? It is there in the Vishnu Sahasranama. So therefore, you go to Vishnu and don't start shouting at Shani and say, you are a thief, you are a thief, you are a thief. Yes, I am a thief. I have come inside your house. Now you sit down. Let me do my job. But if you go to the police, then he will run away. So the word graha means that which is going to eat up, that which is controlling, that which is restraining. Nigraho bahya vrittinam, external. Now, our vasanas come from two sources. Our vasanas come from three sources. Three can be broken up into two parts. One, which is internal. The internal vasanas come from our living in the past or living in the future. When we live in the past or we live in the future, we create vasanas. These vasanas are ragadvesha only, right? Running towards or running after, running away. So when I am running towards or running away, either I am in the future running away or running towards, or I am in the past. This is when you want to control this. This is called shama. But there is some part of it which is being fed by the external inputs that are coming in right now. I used to have one of my teachers when I started off in the insurance sector. One of the persons, very, very elderly gentleman, he used to ask in the class, are you all here? So everybody would say, yes, sir. So he said, no, you are not here. What do you mean by that? 33% you are in the future. 33% you are in the past. You are only 33% here. At least that 33%, let it be here. Don't stick with your phones. So that is how he used to get us to avoid our mobile phones. But he was so right, no? We are living in three parts. Something we are thinking in the future, something we are thinking about the past, something we are thinking in the present. The present is being determined by the external inputs that are coming to us from our sense organs. So control of that is called dhamma. So shama and dhamma are basically controlling of the vasanas. One originating from the internal workings of the mind, and the Dhamma coming in by external stimuli that are coming into me at this point of time.
We can also call it as Shama as mind control, whereas this one Dhamma as sensual
Control. But
because it's coming from external and internal.
Correct.
Further, if you break it, further, if you go down one level down, if you go, it is mind control and sensual control.
The whole idea of breaking down and making it more and more granular is, the more granular you can make it, the more easy it is to manage, right? Raghuji, you, all of you have been working in corporates. We know that whenever you go and give a report, and Vishu has been in this particular position where he will ask for reports, then he will go and throw that report back at people and say, no, make this more granular. I would like to see a granular view, right? This is a CEO talk. So the granular view, the more granular it is. Why do you want granularity? Because it is easier to control smaller pieces.
You get clarity on what to do.
So which is what Acharya is also doing. Acharya is basically breaking it down smaller and smaller and smaller pieces, so that each piece can be individually controlled, individually operated upon, individually worked upon, individually understood.
In fact, he has dealt in greater details on all this sadhana sampatti in Tattva Bodha.
Yes.
So in much greater detail.
Because that is a book of definitions. And incidentally, however, just a casual mention here in terms of, since you have mentioned the book, Tattva Bodha is not, it is one of the only works which is not written by him alone.
Yeah, it is written by one of the acharyas of the Kanchi Madam. Because his name is some Indra Saraswati, but it is coming. So from that, you can make it. But he has not given his name. He has given his guru's name in that.
So, no, even the original framework of Tattva Bodha was done by Acharya, Sureshwaracharya, and one of the obscure disciples called Medhatiti. So Medhatiti, Sureshwaracharya, and Acharya himself, three people did a collaborative work. Obviously, they will always ascribe it to Shankaracharya. So it's the easiest to do. And nowadays what happens is people create their own shlokas, and then to get credibility of that particular shloka, they ascribe it to Acharya, because the Acharya is so immense amount of work, nobody knows where his work is ending. So
now you see on WhatsApp, you will get a message which will have the picture of Abdul Kalam, and there'll be a saying. I mean, Abdul Kalam may never have said that, but they are putting his picture.
And sometimes you get the same quotation from Swami Vivekananda, Albert Einstein, Abdul Kalam. Everybody has said the same thing in the same words. So, Vishayebhya paravritti paramoparatir hisa sahanam sarva dukkhanam titiksha sa shubhamata. So now he talks about uparati and titiksha. Uparati means to turn away. So first is you are withdrawing, you are controlling. Now you are moving away, consciously moving away, uparati. Consciously you are saying, I do not want this. So when you say that, I am constantly turning away. See, the mind which is running into sense objects continuously will remain in that sense objects all the time. To get out of that, it is like Gajendra. See, Gajendra has been caught by the crocodile. What is the name of the crocodile in Sanskrit? What do we call the crocodile?
Gajendra.
No, crocodile. What is it? What is that? What is
Makara.
Crocodile is Graha. Graha. Shalya Grahavati. Kripena Vahani. Right? Shalya Graha. Graha means crocodile. Why is it called the crocodile? Because the crocodile catches, holds, restrains you. Same words, Nigraho. So the Graha. So there is this Jagdish Singh ka bahut beautiful bhajan hai. उसके अंदर में वो बोलते हैं कि गज ग्राह घसे, Graja, Graha, Ghase. They pull against each other. Right? What is the Gaja? The Gaja, the elephant, is a being which is involved with the world. But it has evolved itself to a point where it can move away from the world. But when it tries to do that, the manas, which has been continuously engaged in this ocean or the big lake, it is continuously there. It is not allowed to go there. So the manas, uncontrolled manas, is the graha. The Atman, which is now looking towards Uparati. So I would like all of you, we have talked about this when we were doing Brahma Sutra. Please revisit Gajendra Moksha Stuti, Gajendra Stuti. It's a very, very powerful stuti. I would like you to go back to Srimad Bhagavatam. You can you can Google Gajendra Stuti. You will get it from Google itself. There are lots of websites where it has been given. And it is only towards the end that he gives a form to that ultimate Atman. Towards the beginning, there is no form. He just talks about the Paramatman. So there is an interesting story over there. So what happens is, when Gajendra starts the stuti, all the three of them, Brahma gets up, Vishnu gets up, Shiva gets up, they all meet at the junction. They say, अब किसको जाना है? अभी कौन जाएगा? आप कैसे पता? अभी उसने किसी को बुलाया नहीं है, वो खाली अभी परब्रह्मन को बुला रहा है. हम लोग कोई नहीं जा सकता है. Because Parabrahman cannot act. Atman has no action power. So then when he gives the form, when he lifts the lotus and he gives the form, then Vishnu says, okay, now it's my job. Okay, both of you go back to your places. I'm going. So he goes. Right? So jokes apart, see, I love the beauty of our Sanatana Dharma. We are allowed to create so many jokes about our own deities. Right? You cannot do that in that freedom of questioning, of ridiculing, as long as you are a seeker, you are free to do anything you want. And that yesterday you were mentioning, Raghuji, is that freedom of questioning, the freedom of challenging, the freedom of learning through questioning. The Bhagavad Gita declares that. Tadvidhi paripatena pariprashnena sevaya. Pariprashnena, he says that you have to ask questions. Don't go there and blindly say, oh, you have to do this, otherwise that will happen. Sorry, why are you saying that? So here he's, yes, please.
I had a very, for 5 years, I was living in the US. I did my master's and then I was at the laboratory of my company, living in the US. And then I moved to Australia. So when I was in the US, when I was interacting with the Americans, they would constantly, they are very concerned of being.
I know that the other people are all sleeping, but you will have to speak up. You can't hear you at all.
Okay. Okay. So they are constantly, can you hear me now?
Yes, a little better.
Okay. So they're constantly concerned about not offending my senses. So they are constantly
Offending?
being politically
I couldn't get the word. Offending?
My senses, that they are offending me. So when they are saying something, they are always concerned, how will this person take it? I always got the feeling that I was being considered as somebody else. When I went to Australia, those people, they don't care. They will joke with you, they will pull your leg, they will I actually felt accepted that I am not considered different. They think of me as just their own friend, and they will interact like that. So this is the thing which I found very very different. Let me also change in the audio setting. I'll go to the.
So coming back to this Uparati, if you look at how you function in your world on a day-to-day basis, you mentioned the word laboratory. If you are in the laboratory, you are doing an experiment. Where do you want your mind to be? You need your mind to be sitting down in silence. You need your intellect to be working at full 100% capacity. You need your body to be completely still. That is what the laboratory of meditation is also. It is also nothing but a laboratory experiment. What you experience on the Western science is the outward looking science. It is this is an inward looking science. Subjective science, objective science. So when you look at the subjective science, which is looking inward, it is the same process. The mind needs to be able to be undisturbed, no ripples when there are pinpricks that will come, and they will come. Pinpricks will happen. But when pinpricks happen, you ignore them and say, this is way of life. That is called titiksha. That is called titiksha. Because when we say, he uses the word dukkha. When he says the word dukkha, very clearly, it is inherent to dukkha is the duality of dukkha, which is sukha. So when sukha and dukkha both are viewed equally, that is called titiksha. Titiksha is not only forbearance of the bad, it is also non-acceptance of the good as a permanent state. I don't know if you have read this beautiful book called Sapiens by Dr. Harari. And in the last part of, you may or may not agree with everything. I don't agree with everything that he has talked about, but that's okay. He is a historian, and his view of history is, and he declares that. He declares it as a view of history. What is important is that he has a very strong Eastern thinking that he brings into it. So it makes it more understandable from our perspective. He was a student of Shri S.N. Goenka, Vipassana, founder of Vipassana in India. So he was a Vipassana teacher himself, Dr. Harari. And the book Sapiens, in the last part of it, he talks about know thyself and how that works. And he looks at the Buddhistic, Jain Buddhist view, which is nothing but a derivation from the Sanatan view, of saying that human beings are constantly running for happiness. Constantly running for happiness. As long as if you don't stop running for that happiness, because your happiness is looked at as something that is coming from outside or coming from inside, till you stop running, you cannot achieve it. So here, this is this beautiful a word that we call titiksha, where we say that you accept the good and you accept the bad. There is this, I don't remember which male, I had talked about this earlier, Lalita ji reminded me of this. There was this male a tennis player who was a cancer patient. Was it Federer?
No,
not Federer.
Oh, this was it?
Eli Nastase, is it?
No, Martina
No, Martina Navratilova, male. I think it was Eli Nastase, if I'm not mistaken. So,
or was it Arthur Ashe?
Or Arthur Ashe.
Arthur Ashe died of cancer.
Yeah, Arthur Ashe was asked in an interview that, how do you feel that now that you've been diagnosed with cancer, what is your feeling? So he said that most people, when they are attacked by something like this, would say, why me? Mujhe kyun? But then when I thought of this, and I said, when I won the Wimbledon, I didn't ask why me. When I won the US Open, I didn't ask why me. When I got millions of dollars coming into my bank account from sponsors and advertisers, I didn't say why me. So how on earth can I have the right to ask why me when I get cancer? Now this is a beautiful example of titiksha. If we can live in this, we have so many. Say Arthur Ashe is no spiritual giant. I mean, I would say that if he actually lived in this principle, then he is definitely a spiritual giant. But he is not a well-known, realized master sitting in some robes and preaching. He lived a life of playing tennis. So Titiksha. Then
also there are two types of like again you can say physical one and the mental one. Like physical one, if you remember, you told about Ramana Maharshi. When he was operated for cancer, he did not have anesthesia. That actually you can withstand. Okay, so it is basically a tolerance limit, limit or threshold you can call it. So people who have got the highest threshold will be able to be more tolerant, more tolerance in the case of physical. Even in the mental case, like mental, titiksha, you can say that there could be, you can have things like either you find a solution for it or you transfer it. Because some people will transfer their anger to somebody else. So it is possible for you to, but all these are temporary, but temporary tolerance. But if you want to have a permanent tolerance, that's what is our scriptures tell us how to go about it. So now what you gave the example now is more of a physical titiksha, right? Physical one, or combined with physical and mental, or behind every physical there is a mental, you are saying.
So my view is that the physical tolerance, see, from the Advaitic point of view, the body is jada.
Correct.
So therefore, and the manas touches consciousness. So it is activated through consciousness. It is also jada, but it is activated. The body is completely jada. Hence, when I am able to tolerate physical pain, it is because of the fact that I have met, because the amount of pain at a objective level measured by a certain degree of whatever through a medical science will be the same for you, me, and Ramana Maharshi. The pain caused by a needle going into your hand is same for all three of us. But you and I will react differently and he will react differently. Why? Not because the physical pain is not being felt, but because he can dissociate himself from the body.
So it is basically to do with the impact on that person, and impact is governed by your mental forbearance, basically.
So the next two Shat Sampat he talks about are Shraddha and Samadhana. So Shraddha and Samadhana, he says, Nigamacharya Vakyeshu Bhaktihi Shraddheti Vishruta. Right? Nigamacharya Vakyeshu Bhakti Shraddheti Vishruta. Chitte Kagrya tu Salyakshya Samadhinamiti Smritam. Nigamacharya Vakyeshu. Nigama and Acharya Vakya. Nigama Vakya, Nigama here means Nigama Agama Shastra. It means all these scriptures. Now, what is important is he puts the two together, not separated. Means that your experience has to be something that comes from Acharya Vakya, which is direct, and indirect knowledge, which is coming through Shastra. See, again, going back to the same verse in Bhagavad Gita, what does he describe the person who will give a Upadesha? He says, Tattvadarshi, Jnani Tattvadarshi, both. Tattvadarshi, he has experienced the reality and he knows the scripture. See, if I have experienced reality and I am blabbering about it, and it has no correlation with anything else that has happened in the past, then there are chances that I am hallucinating. Some LSD experience has happened. Right? So that there are chances, which is why if you read The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle's book, and you get surprised. He had no formal training in Eastern sciences. He had no formal exposure to Eastern scripture, neither Buddhistic nor Sanatan Dharma. And yet what he expresses, what he experienced and what he describes is virtually identical to what Ramana Maharshi experienced and wrote. So that validation is extremely important. And hence here Acharya says Nigamacharya Vakyeshu Bhaktihi, Bhaktihi, Bhakti. When does it Bhakti come? Again, we go back to Bhagavad Gita. When does Bhakti come? When my perception has changed and I have looked at the entire universe with one view. That is when Shraddha can origin. Shraddheti Vishruta. Having attained all this, you need the sixth one, which is to be able to put all the concentration into one point. Chitta Ekagra. When I put all of this into one point and bring it to that which is true. Sallakshe. Sat Lakshaha. That which is true. Being aimed at that which is true. Then you have what is called Samadhanam. Smritam, known as Samadhana. So, Shraddha, Samadhana, Uparati, Titiksha, Shama, Dhamma. This is the Shad Sampatti. And he has described this in brief to us. Obviously, as Vishu has very rightly pointed out, that if you want to go deeper into this, the book that you can open it, it's a very easy book to study. You can go to Tattva Bodha and get more detailed explanations. What is important is we need to do Manan on this in terms of saying, how do I develop Shama? How do I develop Dhamma? How do I develop Titiksha? How do I develop Uparati? One exercise that I want to leave with you is what I told about in the last whole week. Examine yourself and make sure that through the whole week, you have not used the words this is good or this is bad in any form, right? I'm not saying the exact words in any sense.
Not being judgmental.
No, without being judgmental, to try and live 1 week with passing no judgment on nothing. Whether it is like my father-in-law loves to pass judgment on the government. Even that he does not, you should not do, right? No judgments at all. How to get into action about it, we'll look at later. Is the situation good? Is the situation bad? Don't forget it. The situation is a situation, full stop. Respond to that situation, but don't judge that situation. That's the exercise we want to do for 1 week. Okay? Chalo. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.